I'm here with Pastor Millie Britt, and I asked Millie, can I ask you some questions? And she graciously said, what'd you say when I asked if you could ask questions?
I said, well, yes.
When you think back over being saved for 70 years,
70.
Can you think back in times in history where things, and we're all saying this is unprecedented, something like this has never happened, but what are some other things that you remember that were really difficult to deal with, or that are in your memory of tough times maybe?
There have been several, like you said.
Yeah.
One of the things, though, that will always be a great memory for me is the fact that I was 9 years old. My father was an alcoholic. I was the youngest of 12. I lived in a very unstructured home. And one day, I know this, it's just in my heart. I just know that God said, you see that dirty little kid down there? If we don't get her, she ain't going to make it. And he sent an angel. And that guy, these people picked me up and took me to church. I'd never been to church in my life. I didn't have a Bible. I didn't know anything about God. And they took me to church, and this man came in and he said, there's a heaven and a hell. There's a God and there's a devil. And you choose. And I knew from that moment on, if the whole world, Pastor Danny, had stood up and said, you honestly think you're born again, I would have said, no, I am. Because I knew he changed my heart.
Yeah.
And I did. And from then on, I never doubted. I read the Bible because he handed me a Bible and he said, if you read this, God will talk to you. And I said, oh my gosh, God is going to talk to me? I mean, I couldn't even imagine it. And so, like everybody that gives you a book, I started reading from Genesis to Revelation. And I've been reading it for 70 years because that's what I was told to do. And God has been faithful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So over the last 3-4 weeks, what's life been like for you and Chet? I mean, here you are. You're stuck in the house, but I know you've not stayed in the house the entire time. What's life been like for you?
No. It's been a challenge. It really has. Because of so many things that I love to do that I couldn't do.
Yeah.
Even on Easter, Chet sat on one side of the table and I sat on the other, and I fixed him a plate and we sat down and ate, and we didn't have our kids there. We didn't have our grandkids there. That's been hard. But when you are in a challenge, God always is there above and beyond what He has spoke to us and has shown us things and has dealt with us also.
Yeah.
Where we both have looked at each other and said, that's something we really, really have to think about what we're going to do here. And that's who God is.
Yeah.
He's not dead. He's alive.
Yeah.
And so He's been with us, but it's been hard.
Yeah. It seems to me, and kind of what I'm hearing too, is you had no control. None of us have any control over this, but we're going to make the most of it.
Yeah.
And making the most of it for you is we can't change a lot of it, but we're still going to listen to God, hear what He has to say to us about things that we need to change and work out. Millie, just a few minutes ago, we sat with and had our staff prayer time, and you shared from Psalm 105, and I felt like it was such an encouraging word from the Lord. And would you just look into the camera and just share with our church family what God spoke to you out of Psalm 105?
I'm sure there are many of you out there that have prayed and prayed and prayed, and sometimes you feel like you haven't seen those prayers answered.
Yeah.
When I found out I had to have surgery, I knew I had to have it because I was in so much pain. And I prayed and asked God, because He'd healed me in the past many times. And I said, God, you can heal me. I don't have to do this. And I almost believed He would, up until the day I was going to the hospital and they were putting a robe on me and I had surgery. And I had a lot of pain with that surgery. And it wasn't always easy. But I kept looking at the Word and looking at the Word. And I went to Psalms 105. I found this verse almost by accident. It said, until the word comes to pass. It's like God said, Millie, until I honor that word that you've been standing on, till I do what you're asking, until it happens, we are tested by the word. And many times God did test me. Many times He would say to me, and I would be in pain and it was hard, and He would say, Millie, do you still believe? Do you still believe that I'm the healer? Do you still believe that I'm with you and that I walk with you? I did. And now I thank God for what he's done in my life. The word is true until the word comes to pass. We are tested, but it does come to pass.
Man, Millie, thank you so much. And I think we can all agree, we all feel tested. I'm sure everybody feels tested during this time. And God is using some of these kinds of things to bring about his goodness in us, to shape our character, to line up with what he wants to do in our lives. And so I'm so grateful for the perspective you gave us, Millie, and we had a chance to walk alongside of you during a lot of that. We saw how God was really moving in your life, and we just want to honor you and thank you for sharing your heart. And we hope that you're encouraged today by words from Millie. So God bless you.
God bless you too.